So I've decided to make a short video. I don't really mind if no one watches it, but the things that upset me about the Crew Motorfest. I love the Crew 2. I have racked up so many hours on the game. It's unbelievable. I love the range of vehicles. I love the land. It's a bit sparse in between the cities, but it's a big map. It's exciting to look around. There's so much to find, and it makes you want to come back. Loads of vehicles. And the things I do like about the Crew Motorfest, the density of the plants is really good, the foliage, the clouds, like the cloud weather system they've developed is amazing, really good. What was the other thing? Yeah, I should say I don't have a Ubisoft Plus account, so I don't take part in the grand races. But these are the things that really upset me about the game. So the first and by far the biggest thing that really annoys me is the playlists. It seems like they're just trying to copy Forza rather than being original. I think Crew 2, the Crew 2, is very original and is fun and is good to come back to. But the biggest thing that annoys me about the playlists is you're loaned a car. So just to explain this for anyone who doesn't know, there'll be a certain race and it'll be, say it'll be a street race, and you enter the race. Perhaps it's like the Porsche 911, the Porsche playlist. So you play through different levels with different Porsches. But you start the race, you're loaned the Porsche. So there's absolutely no reason for you to go and save up your in-game currency to buy a Porsche. There's absolutely no point. And then every single race you ever do, you don't need to have the car. So you're loaned the car and you never have to buy them. So what's the point in having vehicles? Like the whole thing about Crew, the whole thing about Need for Speed, the whole thing about Gran Turismo is to get a car so that you can grind out races to save up for a better car or to buy better parts so that you compete better in the races and you get better and better and better. Now I know that probably works for the grand races, like you tune up your car so that you have a better chance of winning. The grand races are an online thing, but in the actual game, when you're just playing as a single player, there is no incentive whatsoever to earn money, to buy cars, to improve them. And it drives me nuts because that's the biggest thing I like about car games. And it's what I liked about the Crew. I had awesome cars, touring cars, street cars, all the rest of it, drag racing cars. And I tuned them up and I loved it and I customized them, and then I could win a race. Whereas with this, there's no incentive, no motive to get better vehicles. So that really winds me up. The other thing I don't like about it is you can import your cars from the Crew, your vehicles. And so I didn't do that to start with because I wanted to play the game from the start and then make my way through. But then I did import my vehicles and I had like hundreds. And I can only import 29, which really wound me up. So there's no support for jet boats. There's no support for what they called hovercrafts. I had a helicopter that I can't use in this game, and I had loads of vehicles that just haven't appeared in this game. And that leads me on to the next thing. I think it's because the map is too small. So there are some places you could use a hovercraft, but they've obviously not supported them in the Crew Motorfest. But the map is very, very small, and I don't mind because it's full of stuff, but it's after a short while of playing it's quite boring. So the Crew 2 was big by comparison, and you could drive from one side to the other and you would find things and it'd be very interesting. There'd be a lot to see, a lot to look at, whereas in this map it's very small, and it looks nice, but there are corners that have been cut. And I'm not a game developer, so what do I know? But Another thing that really annoys me, and a corner that's been cut, is the water physics. So when you go to the edge of the water, you can go into your boat, which is brilliant, by the way. And I love that the developers play games, and they wanted to be in planes, they wanted to be in boats, they wanted to be in cars, so that you could see the world from different angles. And I do think that's awesome. An on-foot option would be good, by the way. But what really annoys me is you can't see through the water. So you'll know that in games like Red Dead Redemption 2 and similar games, you look through the water and you see the rocks underneath, and you see as the water gets deeper, you get different depths of water. Whereas with the Crew Motorfest, it's just the water physics are good when you're in the water in a boat, but you can't see through the water. Like, it's a really big deal to me. And the waves, they just kind of hit the shore and they kind of disappear. Like, it just seems like they've cut a corner to try and get the game out, which I understand, you need to release the game, but for me it's a bit lazy. But maybe I'm being overly critical, I don't know. The next thing that really winds me up, and I know someone else has mentioned this in their videos, is the aeroplane, the way you drive the aeroplanes, or fly the aeroplanes I should say. They've completely changed it so that you can't do what's called knife flight, where you can, you know, turn your vehicle. And yeah, it's a really annoying way to fly a plane. The controls are very irritating. They've tried to simplify it, but they've made it worse. And although it was hard to fly the planes in the Crew 2, you got better at it and you had to keep trying. And I just think the way the planes fly in this one is really annoying. What else is on my list? Yeah, that's about it really. There are some other things, but mainly the size of the map, and hopefully they'll update and they'll add more islands perhaps, because it's a cool idea. But the idea that they're trying to go back to anything that looked like Test Drive, because I know some of the people on it are from the original Test Drive, and it's just not like that. So I'm way more excited about Test Drive Solar Crown than I am about the Crew. And I was waiting for this game for ages, as everyone else was. And I was in the beta, in the testing, and I liked it in the testing, but I didn't realise the whole playlist thing, because I didn't get to play it for very long. So it's nice looking, and the cars handle nicely. They're all quite individual, so they've put a lot of work into that. But overall, the career progression is really annoying to me and makes me not want to play it, unfortunately. So yeah, that's my 2 pennies worth.